So recently, I've been looking at how lawmakers pass bills, right? They put a law into our system, and then when something comes out, like a whistleblower comes forward and tells how that law has been abused, they kind of act like it wasn't them. It was whatever agency misinterpreted or found a loophole in their law. But what I kind of would like to look at is just how this keeps happening over and over and over again. And the prime example I've been researching really is how the Patriot Act was interpreted by our federal agencies as meaning they should have the right to have a mass surveillance system where they were collecting and storing every single communication, including our metadata, where we went at every moment, and just kind of using that however they like. And when Edward Snowden blew the lid on that and came out and told the world really about what they were doing, our lawmakers acted like they didn't do it. It was that agency that interpreted their law wrong. So it became the fault of that agency. And who got off the hook was the lawmakers that basically gave them carte blanche to do whatever they wanted to us. And my suggestion really for this was that if they put a law into play, that maybe we should be interpreting those laws and looking for those loopholes and imagining how it could be used or abused. Because if we could find ways that laws can be abused, then it's very likely that those agencies that might interpret those laws might interpret it in the same nefarious ways that we interpreted it. And my whole idea about this was that if citizens pointed that out in advance and not waiting 13 years later for a whistleblower to come out with things, then yeah, maybe those laws would be amended. Or maybe the lawmakers couldn't say, oh, we had no idea it would be used that way, because the citizens would be coming out and saying, there's all these loopholes in this law that you just passed. And we've actually been seeing that happen with a lot of the different laws that have been passed recently. There's a whole list of them. And what happens really when we call them out and say, hey, this law sounds pretty tyrannical, or this law could be misinterpreted or interpreted in this way, what we've had is this denial. Not any attempt to fix the law, but just this general denial and trying to make the people who were pointing out the loopholes seem to be like they're blowing things out of proportion, and the government would never interpret that law in that way. And anyone that's saying it is just being ridiculous, right? And then when there's reports of those laws actually being used or interpreted in the way that people were kind of trying to blow the lid on, right? That seems to be covered up as well. And by covered up, I'm going to say highly censored. Anyone talking about it gets their content attacked or their accounts attacked. And I'll probably have to discuss those in another video, maybe on an account that hasn't been threatened.